This is a Lexus NX, and it's all new for 2022. But there's also another all new here. This is the NX450h Plus, and that means plug-in hybrid. So under the hood here, we have Toyota's 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It makes 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, but this is the plug-in hybrid. So you have a traditional hybrid system attached here, and of course that amplifies your power. You can drive in either completely electric mode, or you can combine the electric torque and power from that electric motor with the gas engine to make 302 horsepower. And for the torque figure, you need an engineering degree to understand, so we don't really have that right now. So sure, it's a hybrid, and it's actually the same powertrain that we tested earlier this year in the Toyota Rav4 Prime, which is the fastest thing that Toyota, asterisk, makes. So how does it feel under the 4,444 pound NX body? Well, slow it down, switch it into Sport Plus, put on the brake, auto EV/HV, bury it. Oh, it's pretty quick. Pretty quick. Lexus claims 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds, and well, to me that felt faster than 5.5, but we don't have any official testing gear, so we'll just have to take their word for it, I guess. But let's dial it back into eco mode. And now, there is something very important that we didn't touch on just yet. Okay. So this is a hybrid, so obviously fuel economy is important. Now, this being the plug-in hybrid, it's really difficult to kind of estimate what that miles per gallon figure might be, because it really is contingent on how much battery you have in reserve. Now, the non-plug-in hybrid version of this gets 39 mpg in mixed conditions, so you can expect at least that from your NX450h Plus. But the important thing here is this little thing. This is where you plug in. With a fully charged battery, you get 37 miles of completely electric range, and it's pretty peppy. So let's talk about that too. So we've covered that this thing is efficient. We've covered that it's quick. We also said that, yeah, it's kind of heavy, 4,444 pounds. It's a tidy number, but that's a big number, and that's due largely in part to the battery. Electric cars just inherently are heavier than gas cars just because of the mechanics of it. So does that really ruin the dynamics behind the wheel? No, of course not. It's still very Lexus feeling behind the wheel, in the sense that you can tell the suspension is kind of tuned more for comfort than performance, but this is a hybrid compact crossover, so I don't think the buyer of this car really wants it to handle like a Ferrari. Everything is very smooth, but it is responsive. You do have a CVT transmission up here, and that does make your power delivery seem kind of rubber bandy, but honestly, you're not really gonna notice it. I'm hyper-focused on this sort of thing because that's my job, but the normal person won't notice it. It actually simulates gears pretty well if you want to chuck it up into sport mode and play with the paddles on the steering wheel. But other than that, it's just a nice ride. The all-wheel drive system keeps you confident even in inclement weather and when traction might be a concern. And the ride is just smooth. And the fact that a lot of times this defaults into EV power only, it's very quiet, it's very refined, and it's very Lexus in here. But I did say that this was all new for 2022. So let's step outside and talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so this new NX, from first look, especially up front, wouldn't seem too much different than the old one, but we just did an Instagram post with the RC talking about the textures of Lexus, and that's the important thing with luxury cars specifically. It's a simple, elegant design, but if you're really paying attention to the textures, the details, and those little tiny elements, that's what sets it apart from the rest of the cars. The blue paint is dynamic. The black spindle grille has never looked better than it has in this F Sport trim. The entire front end is sharp and aggressive. The wheels fill out impeccably. And then the big difference comes in the back. The overlapping taillights dominate the aesthetic, and this is the first Lexus to ditch the L logo on the back for the spelled out Lexus script. Comprehensively, it's simple, elegant, and aggressive, and it's a design that doesn't miss. So with that, let's step inside and check out the design there. In here, the design is another big change from the outgoing. We've completely moved away from the touchpad infotainment, thank God, but not everything is perfect. This is the first Lexus to get the new generation infotainment system, so there will be some small annoyances that they'll fix with over-the-air updates. The annoyances are things like slightly laggy response in some menus and the baking in of climate into the screen. Credit where it's due, and this is worlds better than anything they've had in the last 2 decades. The safety suite is also the best it's ever been, and it's not quite on par with Hyundai or Tesla, but it's getting there. Then, in terms of features, let's be honest, you're just going to use Apple CarPlay 90% of the time, and that works perfectly and has a shortcut button at the top left of your screen. The head-up display is nice and gives you a lot of info. The digital cluster is a little overwhelming to look at first, but it's perfect once you understand where everything is. The steering wheel is new, and it looks and feels great and offers almost too much customizability. And then, of course, you have a wireless charger and a bunch of storage. But again, this is a Lexus, so comfort is key. This is incredibly luxe, from the wonderful seats, the quality of the textures you interact with, and from the sense of space you feel from everywhere in the cabin. Overall, it's been a fantastic thing to live with on all fronts, and definitely something you should consider if you're looking for a new car. So, the 2022 Lexus NX450h Plus. It's brand new, but more than that, it marks a big transition for Lexus. It's the first plug-in for them. It's the first with the new infotainment system. And it's the first to go with the script on the rear for branding purposes. What it comes together as, at least in this journalist's opinion, the perfect solution for the daily driver. It's fabulous to look at, it's shockingly efficient without carrying range anxiety, it's legitimately quick and fun, it's Lexus comfortable, it's shockingly spacious and practical, and it's finally got the modern tech. And at just over $56,500 to start, it's the most expensive NX, but it's not outrageously expensive for everything it delivers. Unless you need an off-roader or a track car, this is a vehicle that ticks all the boxes. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.